Hi everybody, my name is Stacey Calder and I am so sorry that I could not be there tonight. The plan was that I was coming along with Sharon and Mel and I was going to talk to you about my experiences with Light Up. Unfortunately, as you're going to hear from my story is all about my children and one of them is poorly, so I can't be there today. So first of all, apologies. Second of all, I wanted to share with you that we are a family that I myself went through Light Up first, not because there was anything wrong with me or I felt out of tune. I'm a big fan of personal development and I have been in and around Sharon's influence and circle for years. And so when she said she was doing this new thing, I said, yeah, let's do it. But what I got from that was so much understanding. But also it allowed me to see how this would help others. And then my husband, he went through Light Up and it really helped him deal with some childhood trauma. And then my son Billy at the time was in year 5, so I'm going to say around 9 or 10. He was starting to be misunderstood at school. He was shutting down, and by shutting down I mean he was hiding under the tables, not speaking, not causing trouble, just not engaging. There were times where they'd find him in the cloakroom, sat under his peg with his bag on his, school bag on his head. There was times where he'd climbed a tree just to get away from it all and was just sat there like a little squirrel. And he's very literal. He's very literal brained, and he just was getting very confused. When people said something, he would take that as, it was black and white. There was no grey. And he was just getting himself into a tiz. School were labelling him as disruptive. They were labelling him as, getting into trouble. And he wasn't. And we knew that. So he went through Light Up and it was amazing. It gave him the tools he needed to not only handle day-to-day situations, but to shine and to thrive. And he's now 14, he'll be 15 next week, and he is fantastic. And I will say that Light Up was the change he needed to accept, I think, himself and the way he thinks and the way he feels, and to just give him that toolkit of stuff to be able to say to the teachers and to others, actually, this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm doing, or this is what I mean. And the communication came, and it came from Light Up. And then you might say, well, that's one child. But then we now have George, who is now 9. So he is now in year 5, the same age Billy was. And what it's made me realise is I think something happens to boys around the 9-10 age, around the year 5, because George started to get he's always been known as a sensitive soul, but he can get quite angry, quite wound up. He's very, very quiet. He's very placid, but has started to come home, and where he's been quiet and placid in school will flip out really easy. So he came to us and said, I want to do Light Up. I've heard you talking about it. I've heard Billy talking about it, and Dad, I want to do Light Up. I want it to help me to stop getting so angry and so wound up. And so I rang Sharon, and the rest is history. He went through it, and it's brilliant. I see him at the kitchen table, and he's doing these things with his fingers where he's counting to 10. He uses the bell jar. He uses that quite a lot. And he absolutely loves it. And I've caught him sending videos to Sharon where he's talking about how he's used certain tasks, certain toolkits, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see. So I 100% recommend it for children. Obviously, parents would need to do it first just to get a feel for it and to understand what their children are then telling them. But I can't tell you the change it's had in both boys. It's given them the confidence. It's given them reassurance. It's giving them almost kind of this allowance to be themselves and be what they want to be. So I think it's needed in schools. It's really needed in schools because, like I said, Billy wasn't being naughty. A teacher one day had said to him, you're having a bad day. And he said, I'm not. He said, okay, I got caught talking in class. bad 10 minutes maybe, but that doesn't equal a bad day. And me as a, you know, personal development buff, I was like, oh my God, you're so right. But his teacher wasn't seeing that. His teacher saw it as he was answering back, he was being disrespectful. And so for him, it gave him those tools to allow him to communicate. We sat down with the teachers, we explained what he'd done, we showed them his workbook, and actually got them thinking a bit more as well. So it's great for teachers, it's great for children, it's great for parents, it's great for everyone.